India and abroad. She's basically an English language teacher, as you can make out from the way she speaks, the way she writes. I'm in awe of the way she does that. And Miss Kalyani also believes in simple transformational techniques both for learners and teachers. And today, here, we are going to benefit from this belief of hers and all the effort that she has taken in developing these techniques, in understanding these techniques. It is a profound privilege to be able to hear Miss Kalyani ji today at Adharshila Talks. On behalf of the entire RRIS fraternity, I extend a very warm welcome, Ms. Kalyani, and wish to have this association continue forever and ever. It's. I would also like the participants to know she is a very dear friend of mine, much more than her professional abilities that I can speak about. I know her as a person. She's a wonderful human being, very positive, always motivates, guides, and she's so encouraging. She would uplift your spirits at any times. And I expect the same from her for all of my colleagues. The way you have showered your love and affection on me, please do it for all of us so that we can uh, feel that warmth from you and learn as much as we can from you because you have a lot to give.
I
So
think
thank you.
Madam Jaya Parekh is, more than modest in describing me. Uh, it's like, what you feel about someone is what you feel about yourself. Isn't it? It's the same. So I think I reciprocate all your feelings, and I am glad to be part of this prestigious talk. I have been listening uh, to all the speakers. I think I may have missed one or two, but I will surely go on to the YouTube channel and watch them. But each one of them had so much to bring to the table.
You're
And
right.
during this time, I feel this lockdown period has come to us as an amazing time for learning.
True.
And what I talk of, I say simple techniques for transformation. These are there. I am not the creator of these techniques. I have implemented certain techniques, and I feel if as educators we look out for these, it's always there. The world over, people are thinking, people are doing, and people are sharing.
Right.
So we need to just be aware, be alert, and the learning is all ours. So, on that note, I begin by thanking all the attendees today. I'm glad that Dr. Jaya Parekh has created this platform. I will try to do justice to my topic.
Yes.
So, we are good to go. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Thank you.
So, what I am going to talk about today is still a Harvard University study. And before I begin, let's just do a simple warm up exercise. Now, if pain were an object, what would it look like? Can you quickly type it in the chat box? If pain were an object, what would it look like? Now, the current situation has left us in great pain. So, how do you visualize it? I may have a knee pain, I may have, some kind of an agony. So, what is it that you are associating pain with?
So, ma'am, a few of the responses that are coming in are needle, thorn, knife,
Yes, the
cactus,
tiny virus, tears,
virus,
discomfort.
tears.
Absolutely. So, what did we just do? We created an image of pain. Didn't we do that? We just created an image. We visualized pain. We feel pain. Do we visualize pain? So when you visualize it, you visualized in different forms. Some felt it was a needle, some felt it was a knife, some felt it was the tiny little virus. So it's all your perception. But what did you just do? You created an image of something very abstract. So what, since I say that I am going to talk about making thinking visible, do you think that you just thought about the word pain and created an image with that? Were your thinking caps on? And was it difficult? No.
No.
So what is thinking actually? What do scientists make of thinking? What do mathematicians make of thinking? What do historians make of thinking? What do readers make of thinking? What is it that we are doing when we say we are thinking? Scientists make hypotheses, they observe closely, they build explanations. What do the mathematicians do? They look for patterns all over. They form generalizations, prove, they have arguments. Historians, they consider different perspectives and they reason with evidence and build their explanations on that. And as readers, what do? They make interpretations, they form connections, they also predict. A lot of prediction is happening right now, as we can see. Okay, let's do a very simple activity at this point. So what I'm going, just follow my instructions and try it out. So I want you to make a soft fist. Okay. Now when I say right, you're taking out your right thumb. And when I say left, you're taking out your left little finger. Okay, and vice versa. So right, left, right, left. Could you see? When I take my right thumb out, I take my left little finger out. And when I take my right little finger out, I take my left thumb out.
Kalani, we can't see your hands properly. We can't see your hands properly.
Okay, just a second.
If you can bring your hands closer, fists closer.
Okay,
right in front of the face.
okay.
Yes.
Am I visible now?
You can move the hands a little back. Yes, towards you.
Okay.
Yes.
All
now
right.
Bring them
so
closer.
When I say open your right, when I say right, you are taking out the right thumb, and when I say left, you are taking out your left little finger. So can you see now?
Yes.
Okay, when I say right, I'm taking out my right little finger, and when I say left, I'm taking out my left thumb. So can we do it fast? Just see, when I say right, left, how fast you can do it and how correctly you can do it. Right. So when I say right, my right thumb, and when I say left, my left little finger. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Was it easy? You can try it out on your own. Was it easy? So what did we just do? We did a simple neuromuscular exercise. When our brain was thinking, right or left, right or left. Okay, let me give you this now. Oh, so most of the participants say it was not easy. Yes, it was brain gym activity. I will try to present something to you now. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So if you can guess what parking spot the car is parked in. I'll give you 30 seconds for the responses.
87.
91. Ma'am, 87.
87.
Oh, wonderful. How many correct responses did we have?
Ma'am, almost everybody, because
Oh,
I
great.
guess
Everybody, ma'am.
they had seen it somewhere.
Super simple.
Great, great, great.
Everyone does.
So this was
Yeah,
simple,
simple.
right? Easy. Good. Now, when we talk of visible learning, why should we make it visible? Why do we need it? So if I say I taught well, what do I mean? Do you agree if I say when I taught well, I am being teacher centric?
Yes.
Because I am doing the preparation, keeping in mind what I know. My intentions are good. I want to pass on to my children what I know, to my learners. So what's happening here is that a lot of time we are thinking as adults. And we are passing it on to the learners, hoping that they will understand. Some of them do, but there are many who don't. So this study taken up is called Project Zero. And through Project Zero, the researchers, they went into the classrooms and they formulated certain ideas which would give a structure to what we are teaching. So when we change it to learner centric, what change happens? So if I have given you a concept idea, I want you to look at this clockwise. What do you do with the concept idea? You engage the learner. Then you ask the learner to explore. While the exploration happens, there's a lot of struggle that the learner goes through. And after this struggle, the learner comes up with various questions. And I know teachers do this. Many teachers do this. So as teachers, our goal is to foster the engagement of the students with the idea. If we are able to engage students properly, we are able to engage them well, our job is well done. Now, to make thinking visible, what do we need to do in a classroom? We need to notice and appreciate a new point of view. If someone is proposing a new theory, we need to listen. If someone tries to provide an explanation, again, we have to listen and reason. Someone may try to make a connection. Someone may try to see a pattern. So the three simple steps of visible thinking would be questioning, listening, and documenting. Now, if I come to the questioning technique, what am I doing with this technique? Now, I have taught a lesson in my class. Do I leave it at that and ask my children to just go through the lesson and find the answers to the questions? Or after having taught the lesson, I go back and ask the students if I can help them some more with the construction of the understanding of the lesson. So can I instruct or can I ask the students what they know and what they do not know about the lesson? Now, this questioning technique will help the students clarify their own thinking. And questioning does not always mean that the student is questioning the teacher's ability. The students come up with questions because they seek answers. So if I ask the child, if I have had a lesson, say, on plant life, and we've spoken about various things like germination and the other related parts of the plant, and the child comes up saying that, nowadays we don't need soil to grow plants. We can do it very well inside our homes without soil. So would you appreciate the child for coming up with that idea and make the class curious by trying to give another question? So it's not about just teaching the lesson, it's about helping the child to go beyond the lesson. Now, the question also has to be authentic. Just don't lift a question from the textbook and ask the child. The question should speak about our interest as a teacher. So if the child has brought up the idea of creating a garden without soil, am I going to find out more about it and go back to the class and engage my learners and engage everyone in this activity? Can we reflect on that? And when I'm reflecting, will that theory really work for my class? Listening for the answers. In your discussion, and when you have a discussion in the class, it's very important that you listen for the answers. This listening for the answer conveys a sense of respect to the learner, and it also generates their interest. There are very shy learners, there are backbenchers, there are learners who don't at all open up with the teachers. So when you create this environment in your class, they come out of their shell. So when we talk of visualizing thinking or making thinking visible, it is to reach out to each and every learner with different capacities. And this is the fun part of it, documenting it. Pick up a task or your learners go through a lesson. Can we find interesting ways to document it? Just asking them to write the answers in the notebook may not be a very fun way of documenting with the 21st century learners. So I can make use of videos, I can make use of photographs, and something that is very easy to do is to bring a white sun board to the class. You may have a few in school, like 10-15 boards, and they can make the rounds. So whenever you have an activity where the children need to put down their thoughts, you take the board to the class, let them write. Each group can be given a part of that board, or maybe 3 boards can go into the class, and the children write or bring out their thoughts on that board. So this whiteboard concept is good to look at. Now, this thinking can be well directed with routines. So the kind of questions would be how, this is from the child's point of view, how else can this be done and why? What I want to say is, how else can I say this? How else how else and how else. The child is always seeking more answers, within himself. So can we create a platform using these routines for these children and give a structure to our teaching? Now I'm showing you a picture. You're looking at an object. There's an image. What do you see? What do you think is going on? And what makes you wonder? I'm moving on. I hope all of you have had a good look at this. Can you see a little more of the picture? Keep guessing. There were 3 questions. And the third one.
Kalyani ma'am,
Did you have any idea?
sorry to cut you
Sorry.
off. It seems a few users are not able to see the screen. So if you could just disconnect your screen sharing and share it again, it might just help them.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay, so I'd shown you 3 pictures. So what do you, how do you connect those?
Kalyani, may I ask you to show the 3 pictures again, please? We couldn't see them properly.
Okay, I will do that. Can you see now?
Yes, ma'am.
Just a second. Yeah, this was the first picture. So you may note down whatever you see. Should I move on to the next?
Yes, ma'am.
If I can have a few participants guess what it is, those who haven't seen all the 3. I've moved to the second one. And now I move to the third. So did you have any idea when I showed you the first 2 that there would be a person on a ladder in the third one?
Not at all.
No, ma'am. No.
Not at all. No. So what did we just do? This is a very effective technique, a very effective routine. I'll come back to my presentation. You saw the big picture, okay. Expanded our vision. Yes. So this routine is called the zoom in routine. What did we do with the first picture? We looked at the small portion of the image that was revealed. So you saw something, you noticed something, and you interpreted something out of that. Now, when I revealed a little more of the image, did you see any new things? Did you see the cloud partially?
Yes.
Yes. So you made another interpretation with that. So this new information that was given to you through the second picture, did it answer any of your queries? And what did you start wondering about when you saw the second picture?
That there is more to it.
I'm sure you, yes. Now, when you saw the complete picture, what questions did you have about the entire image? Did it match the first and the second, or did it not? Was it completely different? Yep. Yes. They did not match. The meaning changed completely. Yes. So this is a very simple technique that can be used in the classrooms. This is called zoom in routine. And the purpose, every routine that you have, there are multiple routines that you will find. I am not the creator of these, so they are available on Google. I was going through all this since I had a lot of time on hand. And when Dr. Jaya said, will you speak? I thought, let me speak about my new learning. So this routine
So you made effort,
asks
you
learners
studied,
to,
and we are making use of your studies.
I'm still learning.
Thank you.
So this routine asks the learners to observe a gradual portion of an image closely and develop a different hypothesis every time. So I would now request the teachers to just mention in the chat box where they can use this routine. In what context can they use this routine of zooming in? That is more important. Yes, we can make them think deeply.
Think critically.
Can we attach subjects? Because in school we are doing subjects. Yes, absolutely. Story writing is a wonderful idea. Story building, descriptive essay, scientific inquiry. Yes. Yes. So it is not bound by a single subject, right? It can be used for all the subjects. So it's interesting, very interesting. Word problems, absolutely. So you break it down. All right, so I'll move on to the next routine. That's also a very simple routine. Just a second. This may eat into time a little because I'm moving in and out.
Good evening, ma'am. I have a question here. May I
Yes, ma'am.
ask you? Yeah, ma'am, you said that this is zooming in, but in fact, if you look at, aren't we zooming out? In fact, I mean, that's how we consider looking at a thing. If we are focusing using a camera, zooming out is something where you go out, you look at the total picture, and zooming in is focusing at a point. So I don't know whether my question is apt or not, but I just thought I should ask.
No, but then that definitely gives me food for thought.
Okay.
It's another perspective.
Okay.
So I'm moving on to the next one.
If I could add to that, Kalyani, if I could.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
So what I see here is it was a reverse. So it should have, because there was this mystery involved and that was to be kept in fact. Otherwise, it is actually from the third picture first and then going back and seeing that if you zoom in and you only see one part of it, then it is like looking at the small picture. So once one person has to zoom out and see the bigger picture.
See, in a classroom, both will happen simultaneously.
Right.
Once the three pictures are shown, they have already interpreted the first picture, you've interpreted the second picture, and you interpreted the last picture. But I would not say that what you interpreted for the first picture is wrong, because that was a completely different interpretation. where you didn't know what I'm going to show you as the third picture. So you wish, if you want to make connections to the picture, you can make connections. If you want to give the three pictures three different meanings, you can do even that. Would you consider that wrong? You know, when we have the picture compositions, what do they say? You know, make the picture and what you write should be meaningful. So if the child has spoken about water in the first picture, that wouldn't be wrong. There was water. There was something related to water. I would look at it from both ends. Yes, zoom out and zoom in. Now I move to the second one. It is sentence, phrase, and word routine. So I have given a brief history of the invention of the computer here. So if there are any computer teachers, they may read this and tell me if this technique will work in explaining something in their computer class, in their computer lesson. So the first S is sentence that was meaningful to you, that you felt captures the core idea of the text. Because computer teachers work with what do they work with?
They work with computers, ma'am.
They work with computers, but what do they actually work with?
Logic.
What is programming?
Coding and
Okay, ma'am.
They have a lot of pictures and tables and shapes.
So visuals.
Visuals,
Yeah.
yes.
Visuals.
So will
I-
sentence, phrase, and word help them? That's my question. So when I talk about the history of computer, I'm sure in one or the other class this may come up. Can this be used in the computer class? That is my question.
While teaching theory,
Yes.
yes, I think it would apply to studying theory of any subject, including computers. Reading any text.
Yes. So here, if you take this text, which sentence was meaningful? Can a teacher you pick up any sentence that made most sense in the whole passage?
Any teacher can unmute herself or himself and speak up. Okay, Kalyani, for me, it is the second paragraph which makes meaning, which connects the first and the second. So it's very important.
And the phrase that moved, engaged, or provoked you?
As they had not been a century earlier.
Okay. And the word?
Potential benefits, if I could take that term also, potential benefits as a friendly term.
Okay.
And
All right. So when you use this technique, do you think students will be able to break down the text, whether it is science or whether it is computer or history or whatever? If you go with this structure, do you feel that children will be able to break it down and simplify?
yes, it seems so.
Yeah, unless we do it, we don't know. Now this is for the science teachers. I have shown you a bottle of something that is widely discussed now, widely being discussed nowadays. So if I say you have a CEC with this, how would you go about this? How are the ideas and information presented connected to what you already knew? So if it is your chemistry class, how would you take this idea forward and connect it with what you already know? Extension of the idea and the challenges or the thoughts or the puzzles that have come up in your mind from the ideas and information presented. So what would you take from here to go back and connect?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, Aditi ma'am, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I will definitely like to use this in my biology class because we know hydroxychloroquine is used as a drug for malaria. So if I'm teaching any class about the malarial parasites, or basically if I right now, because it is in the news right now, so we can talk about this. I can ask them to connect it to where they have learned it prior, because we generally discuss this when we are talking about the treatment or the prevention that has been involved. So extension can be somewhere we can ask them, because still it is in a trial phase, we are still learning about if there are any other options are available to this treatment. So maybe that is the extension and the challenge we can throw the kids, if what they recommend can be, I mean, a new light to be thrown on this. Basically, maybe the composition of the drug can be changed, or how it can affect the virus if you change the composition, because they do learn about semi-synthetic drugs. Yeah.
Okay. Any
And
other perspective?
ma'am, yeah, I would,
Yes.
ma'am, Piyush here.
Yes, Piyush sir.
Yeah, so ma'am, I would like to talk about the extension part. So it's also in the news that this is also a very important drug in the manufacture of the medicine that will be used to possibly cure COVID-19. So this hydroxychloroquine. So that could be something like an extension. And obviously the medicine is not 100% effective. So that could be somewhat of a challenge, right? Which the people who are manufacturing the drugs are also facing right now. So it would also be studied.
Absolutely. So what you just did was synthesizing the ideas. You knew something about chloroquine and you connected it with hydroxychloroquine. You also connected it with the current situation and you came up with the challenges. So in like Aditi said that she would be using it in her biology class, can it be also used in any other class?
Yeah, may I add
other
here?
than science? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So one is to study the structure of this compound and the reaction that will actually happen, or that is expected to happen between this compound and the virus. How does it affect? What does it do actually? And then if we can connect it to commerce. So what is the annual production across?
Yes.
What is the production in India? The amount of production. Then which countries are the important producers? Is it affecting their business days? And into business and commerce as well.
Yes. So ma'am beautifully connected it with the business side.
Studies. Yeah.
Commerce and economics. So
Yeah.
Ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, this is Muskan here. Ma'am, in lower grades, we can connect them with the measurement given there. It's 200 mg, so we can study measurements. Plus, in science, they also study difference between medicines and drugs and how they are consumed. So we can teach them in that way.
Yes. So a connect extend challenge routine can be applied to various subjects. We just had a beautiful discussion on this. Thank you, teachers. Thank you. Moving on to this. The next routine is color, symbol, image. So I have the cover page of a very famous book. Needs no introduction. So how will I apply color, symbol, and image to this? Choose a color that you think best represents the essence of that idea. So what is the idea that I'm projecting here?
Truth.
So,
What is the symbol that you think best represents the essence of that idea that I'm projecting here? And if you can sketch an image that you think best represents the essence of that idea. So very useful technique or routine for the language teachers. You know, when they take up a short story by a particular poet or author, with this color symbol image, help the language teachers to make the learner understand. Can we have the mic on mute, please?
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Except the person who is speaking, can we have the mics on mute? There's a background sound. Thank you. Yes, ma'am, please go ahead.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, what we can do here is we can teach children about the blog, how to write a blog as a language teacher.
Mm-hmm.
We have also been using a lot of new words, the new vocabulary which we can use in this, keeping the context same.
Okay, so if I ask you about the picture that you see, if I ask you about the cover page of this book,
yes,
what
ma'am.
color do you think best represents the essence of that idea?
Ma'am, I would go with green color. Green, for me, it's a very soothing color. It gives me, sometimes when I feel that if I am stressed out, I would always look in the greenery, the nature. So I prefer green color.
But there is an idea here.
Yes,
in
ma'am.
this, there is an idea. So what is that idea? What is the idea? I'm showing you an autobiography, My Experiments with Truth by M.K. Gandhi. So what is the idea here?
Ma'am, maybe according to me, maybe we are trying to show children the biography of Gandhiji and relate it with the truth and the way he lived his life.
Yes, yes. So when you say truth, what could be the color of truth?
Okay. Truth. I know
Because it
about
says
why.
represents the essence of that idea.
Yes. So,
White, ma'am. White.
White.
Agreed. White.
Any other colors? Okay, symbol.
Maybe a mirror.
Okay, reflection.
Yeah.
Great. And what image would you create to bring out this idea?
Can we use the same thing again? Our reflection in the mirror. Because that's what it is, truth.
It can be anything. It depends on what you are thinking. You may think your reflection. Someone else may think a white rose.
Okay.
Someone may just think of a blank wall.
Okay.
It's your image. It's the image that you are forming. You are visualizing truth. So your image may not match with my image.
Agreed. Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yes.
So these are non-verbal ways of using a color, a symbol, or an image to represent the idea. So your big idea represented here was truth.
The truth.
yes, ma'am.
So I move on to the next routine. This is called the chalk and talk routine. So this is very interesting. How do you do it? There is no communication at all. So the teacher just gives a picture and these instructions. So can you quickly jot down something about the picture, about what you are thinking? What interesting ideas have come to your mind? And this is best done as a group work, where no one is speaking, but everyone is thinking. So at the end, you would have a beautiful flowchart or a spider diagram for this picture. Now, if we were in a physical workshop, you could have done that. Since we are all away from each other, we can only think about it. And I come to the last routine for the day. There are many, many more, but I have chosen a few that I found were most relevant in our classrooms. So this is called the 4 C's routine. Again, look at it clockwise: connections, challenge, changes, and concepts. And I'm going to show you a text. After I show you the text, you will have to go back. Okay? Some of you can identify where the text is from, if you have read the book already. Otherwise, read the text and I will go back to the 4 C's. Should I go back? Now, could you make any connections between the text and your own life or your learning? Please unmute and speak. Were you able to connect?
We keep the text on the screen still?
Just a second. Just a second. Did you have a good look at this? Because I can't keep both. So what connections do you draw? We talk of connections, then we talk of the challenge, then the changes and concepts. Okay, I'll keep moving back and forth. I'm going to the text. Okay, let us talk of connections. Any connections?
Ma'am, maybe one line where they have said that whatever is happening and she doesn't know why it's happening. So maybe when we have some ups and downs in our life, and that's a precise thing what we ask, or maybe I ask myself, I don't know why it's happening. So maybe that is where I can connect it to myself.
Okay.
Yeah, why
That's
me,
good.
basically. Yeah, why
why
it's
me?
happening.
Why me?
Yeah.
Yes. Even now we feel,
I
why
could speak,
us?
yes, right now actually we are going to the same phase. Maybe children at home, smaller children, they are not actually aware of what's happening, but they know that they have to stay indoors all the time. Really small ones. I mean, I would
Yes.
say the ones maybe about 5 years old. They just know that mommy and daddy are at home. Nobody is stepping out of the house. They know that something is wrong, but they don't understand the magnanimity of the situation. So that's where the
if you
connection
were,
is.
if we were doing this passage as a comprehension passage using the 4 C's technique, will it work?
Right now it would, I think, because children are kind of facing this, not war actually, but yes,
some
a
kind of a
different
war.
kind of war. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. I would also like to, point out the last line that says, "I suppose all this will stop and we'll go back to our usual places." So that's also a, keen desire in every age group right now. So
Absolutely.
in some way we
But
can
I'm not
relate to.
talking of only right now. I'm talking of a classroom situation. Yes, right now we are in a lockdown classroom. That's true. So all these thoughts are coming to mind. But can any text be used and put to this routine? Okay,
One
from yes, Dr. Parekh, you may come in.
So there was a statement there, which is this, because it is strange and awful, but it's safer that way. So children can be asked to think of those situations in their lives where they had to do something just in order to keep themselves safe, though they did not like to behave that way. They did not find it comfortable. It was strange and weird.
Yes, yes, yes.
That you have to sometimes just be with the flow, do what is needed rather than going for comfort, going for what you would like to do at that moment.
Absolutely. So we come to challenge. What ideas, positions, or assumptions do you want to challenge or argue with in the text? Moving on to a more serious idea, from connections to challenge. Now, did you have any ideas or assumptions that you wanted to challenge in this text?
No.
Yeah, I think there is a tone which just says that we are going to sit and wait for the things to settle. Doesn't talk of the zeal to find a solution, to act.
Yes, yes, yes. So you disagree?
Yeah, I find that this should have also have been there.
Yes. Yes, you may disagree. That's all about analyzing the text.
Yeah.
There's nothing right or wrong. Changes. What changes in attitudes, thinking, or action are suggested by the text, either for you or others?
Ma'am, adjustments.
Yeah.
That's the change. Attitude. The change in attitude is about adjustments, making adjustments in one's life.
Yeah.
With respect to the situation you are in, whatever situation you are in. So maybe we can teach children to adjust to the kind of situation they are in, whether it's a happy situation, whether it's not such a happy situation. They should learn to be thankful and that they have the basic necessities and just move on and still make the best of life. Because this girl's Lata, she was a victim of war, and yet she
Serbian war.
managed to write down her
her diary.
Her diary, yes. So even though you're in dire straits, you can still vent out your emotions. You can write it down somewhere and keep it as a record for future. Like we are telling children right now to to make a note of what they are doing every day, how this quarantine is changing them as human beings. Because now when they come out of this quarantine, maybe another month or two, or we don't know when, hopefully they will be a completely different people, better people, more mature, more thoughtful, more thankful. That's what we are looking at.
Yes. And the fourth C is concept. What key concepts or ideas do you think are important and worth holding on to from the text?
I would say hope. Whatever be the current condition, always hope that everything is going to be good later on in future. So always have positive.
Patience, yes.
Ma'am, I would say courage over here to face the situation and then have the patience to overcome it and wait for good days to come.
See that it's from a child's point of view, right?
Yes,
so
ma'am.
The child doesn't know what politics it is. It says it has something to do with politics.
Yes.
So the concept, can that be one of the concepts or an idea from this passage?
Yes, very much.
Yeah.
Teachers, those please unmute yourself.
I wouldn't really want to bring in politics into a child's life. I don't know.
But this is written by a child and that word is there. So if you're using this text as a comprehension passage in your class, then you cannot ignore the word there.
Yes, then, yeah, for
So in
knowledge
that
sake, yes,
case,
I would do that, yes.
Would you not give a brief idea?
the students are studying about wars in the secondary section in social sciences, World War One, World War Two.
Yes.
So have to know the backdrop, and these stories would help them empathize with the people and would also understand why, whether they believe in wars or they don't believe in wars.
Absolutely.
In
And
fact, we
ma'am,
have Zlata's diary, a portion of it in grade 8 IGCSE portion. So children are doing they've done little research on Zlata's diary. And they've also done the diary of Anne Frank also in
right.
earlier grades. So they know that. Yeah.
Right.
And also, ma'am, I think maybe it also, you see, the words written there in in fact, all in caps would be peace. So it's
Yes.
from, so it's representing the viewpoint of a child who doesn't know anything about, how the politics has evolved and what it has to do with, a kid being not able to live in a house without fear. So I think so. It's just, taking it to a level and then asking us to reflect whether politics has reached a level where it is just overpowering the humanity. And so that is
Yes.
one point that it is bringing out. So, and I think it also just brings about a point where, the innocent people being just caught in the crossfire when the war happens on either sides. They are the majority just because, a few of the people, right, for the sake of the power or, the
Yes.
resources from a
Yes.
country. So,
And
I feel that here the child is trying to say that what all he wants is to live in peace. He doesn't want to see anybody in a dangerous situation. Every
yes.
child has
Now,
this. Every child has this thing in his mind, that all those who are around him should be happy, and I think that is what he is looking at. He doesn't
also,
want, yeah.
also, I thought someone would bring it up, a comparison between a bunker and a bedroom. Now, being in the own house, the child is not able to be in the rooms that they're supposed to be.
I can connect it.
Ma'am, that's why the words are in quotes. Bedroom has been put in quotes, in double quotes.
Yeah.
Connected to the Anderson shelter that I'm teaching in history about. And yes, during the World War II, the students again faced a similar situation when they were evacuated and they had to go in the hiding and they had to build the shelters to protect themselves from the bombing.
Yeah. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so we've had a good discussion about the routines. I hope that a few of these will become part of our classrooms, both at Billabong and RRIS. Now let's have a little more fun, okay? We are, I think, almost towards closing time. So let's have a little fun. Can you try this out? Lift your right foot a few inches from the floor and then begin to move it in a clockwise direction. Are you doing it?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
While you are doing this, use a finger. Use your right index finger to draw number 6 in the air. Right hand, okay? Right hand and right foot. What's happening? What's happening?
Both are going
It's also moving to drawing a 6.
Yes, sir.
Going in the same direction. Not happening. Not happening, isn't it? Okay. Let us make it happen. Try this with your right foot and left hand. So right foot goes in clockwise direction and with your left index finger, write 6. Is it happening?
Yes.
So what's happening here? You can read the left side, which controls the right side, is responsible for rhythm and timing. And the left side of your brain cannot deal with operating two opposite movements at the same time. So it combines them into a single motion. So this is what I have to summarize. In our classrooms, we must reason with evidence. We must make connections. We must uncover complexity, capture the heart and form conclusions. We have to build explanation. We have to describe what is there. And we also have to make our children wonder. And
So where are these two?
Consider different viewpoints. So here in our discussion, there was nothing right or wrong for anything, isn't it? We all had our, and these are my resources from where I have taken these ideas from. I am stopping the sharing now and coming back to you.
Namaste, ma'am. Namaste. All right.
So, what is thinking all about? We just did an hour of thinking in various ways.
Namaste, ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes,
Miss Priyanka wants to say something.
Yes, Miss.
Ma'am, like, sorry for replying late. I was thinking about the last text which you showed us. That is a letter. So, if I would have given, shown this letter to my students, I would ask them that. Not answering the reply, Amir, sir. Okay, but imagine that your text is a Pandora box.
Right.
So, what would be seeing outside?
right.
And when you would open, what would be inside it? So, I think this would be, challenging for them to think about it and to come out with different answers.
Yes, yes.
Amir has joined.
They vote.
Yeah, where is Barkha?
So that there we have another perspective. Right?
Yes.
So one routine can be used in various ways inside your classroom. You have to decide what structure you are taking into the classroom that day. So if we create beautiful lesson plans. Now, while creating the lesson plans, if we can keep these simple routines in mind and design our lessons around these routines, do you feel that the outcome would be more focused and each and every child in the class would participate? Because they will have some scope somewhere to come up with their expressions, with their answers. Yes, I'm glad.
Kalyani, we can't see you.
You can't see me now?
Yeah. No. Just check your video.
My video, just a second. Video is on and the mic is also on.
We can see, ma'am. We can see you, ma'am.
Yeah, I can't. Okay. If others can see, then it is fine.
So that brings me to the end of my talk. I hope I have been able to do some justice to the responsibility given to me by Dr. Jaya Parekh.
So now at the end of the session, Ms. Kalyani, it has been a great 1 hour of learning. In a nutshell, we got to understand so many techniques and so many routines, and it can be applied to any subject. It need not even be a subject. It can just be applied to learning day in and day out, whether in the classroom or in our daily life.
Yes.
So it has been an amazing learning. And there were so many new routines that we have never thought of. Maybe we were implementing in our own ways without knowing that this is a routine.
Yes.
Name. So it feels good to know that there is a name to such a routine, and let us hope that all educators would make it a practice to consciously make use of the routines, because it makes the whole learning process so interesting.
And these were only a few. Each routine can be discussed for an hour, more than an hour.
Right.
So there are more routines. I would request all educators here to explore those routines. In fact, I must mention while I was going through the Project Zero page, I found something called the Out of Eden Walk, and I'm glad to share that one of our educators, Ms. Manisha Joshi, has implemented it in our school very well.
Can you repeat it? Out of?
out of Eden. That's
Oh.
part of Project Zero. So Project Zero has various projects. So you can choose one and experiment in your school.
I've already made a note. I'm going to study in detail about Project Zero, and then we'll have a discussion on it separately. I would also urge the educators to read more and understand more of these routines. I'm sure they are very effective. So, Ms. Kalyani, it was a great pleasure. Thank you very much for this talk. At this juncture, I would also like to acknowledge the presence of some of our guests. I won't be able to name everybody, but we are very glad to have Ms. Lakshmi Nair from Kerala Public School, Jamshedpur. She is one of the trustees. We also have the principal of Kerala Public School, Katma. So I extend warm welcome to you, Mr. Sandeep Dutt, who was here. It was a pleasure to have you. It's a privilege to have so many school principals here with us, and the psychologist, the counselor, Dr. Mihir Parekh, so many educators from across the country, and we also had the parents of RRIS along with our staff of RRIS. I could see a very good participation of teachers of Billabong High Thane. It was great to have you at this platform. And from RRIS family, I extend welcome and now I extend gratitude to you for being a part of Aadharshila Talks. So thank you very much, Kalyani, once again, and for so beautifully capturing the summary of the entire session. You have given us you have pushed us to know more about making our learning more visible, and we'll try to work on it. We'll prepare ourselves more.
It's
Thank you
been
so
an
much.
absolute pleasure. And on behalf of our teachers from Billabong Thane, I thank you for creating this platform. We were all thinking and thinking and thinking what to do, and you actually put those ideas into practice. So I'm glad that I could be part of this. I thank each and every attendee, and I would definitely want to have a feedback so that, I know there is scope for improvement. So please share your feedback as well.
I will do that. I will do that. So thank you once again. And today it is it was the last Aadharshila Talks for this month. We might continue with this in the future. It's still in the planning stage, and as and when we start with it, we will share this message with you and your team as well. And we look forward to your continued support and participation.
Thank you so much. Namaste
Thank
to
you.
everyone.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you,
Kalyani.
ma'am.
Thanks to my team. Thanks to Mr. Amit for helping everybody with the technology involved, and all the guests, all the participants. Have a great day ahead. Stay safe. Bye, Ms. Kalyani. Take care.
Bye-bye. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.